go out and then you call our people and say they stole $1. But meanwhile, you yourself have stolen 1 billion. Doesn't make any sense. A common sense. And as the soldiers, it should be your struggle shall always include justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Faithfulness towards God who is faithful to you. Then in the book of Matthew chapter 25, verse 26 to 35, because I want to say this so that we begin to lay the foundation and explain some things to you about the positions that we have taken regarding some of these hot button issues around the world. So when you are a soldier, you are supposed to be living a particular kind of life. And pain and suffering is common in life. All those people that prosper in the church that tells you about, oh no, God has paid all the price and that you should live in abundance, and if you have to steal, steal. They don't care how you get your money, so that you can be showing that to say that is a blessing from God. All good things come from God, but not all things or gifts are from God. There are some things Satan does, bad stuff. Like the way a lot of people make their money, live their life, that is contrary to the way Christ himself have asked us to live. So even though you may be in pain and in suffering, it does not mean that your pain and suffering is the end of your life, as if it doesn't have an end to it. It might be a preparation. If you read the book of James in chapter 1, from verse 1, you will see. You just have to persevere, and you have to be faithful to God, and you have to trust God that right now you may be suffering. It looks like there is no end to your pain and suffering, but because of your faithlessness. That's why you have to think about being faithful to God. You have to trust Him, that God is with you in that journey. Never give up. In the coronavirus in March of and April last year, no, not last year, 2 years ago, only one person died. And that time he didn't believe. And I say, yeah, you did not believe. And because you did not believe, you cannot be delivered from it. But every other person that believed, that suffered it, at the time they didn't know what it was. They all recovered. Even those that were left out in the hallway or somewhere because they fear to go near them, they recovered. They never got a sickness. There are people that today still did not get that sickness. So you got to be faithful to God, and you got to trust God, knowing that your Lord keeps His promise. Has He ever spoken and it never came to be? In the Psalm 91, He made a promise to protect you from all this pestilence. That even if you have 10,000 by your right hand, 1,000 right beside you, it will not come near you. It's a promise. God is a promise keeper. So when you have your leaders in church trying to tell you otherwise or teach you something else, you should be concerned about such a leader and find another person, because they think about what you spend and how you prepare for everything you've done in your life. And your eternal life should not take a lesser place, like you don't care about that. That's for the race after here. 70 years, 100 years is over here on earth. But where will you be after that? And of course, some people might tell you that it's not true, as if there is no heaven and earth. But you remember the promise in the book of Matthew chapter 25, from verse 26 to 36. I won't read all, but I will read a part of it. But his master answered and said to him, "You worthless, lazy slave, did you know that I reap where I did not sow, and gather where I did not scatter seed?" Those that like to make accusations without facts and evidence, false accusation and false charges. Somebody was trying to help you to get you a life, a job. Like, I don't know if you remember, probably the time ago we were talking about how people are ripping businesses off because of the money that was being shared around and distributed around, and they were asking to grab a so they were getting paid 3 times what they are worth per hour of work or day's job. That was when the pushing was going on. They were paying tens of thousands of dollars to people to leave, for example, our state here, Maryland, and go to another state. And some people jumped on it. And some people call me to ask me what to do, and or they actually were doing it, and I say, but say you are a believer. Don't you think that it is a dishonest gain? You are being paid 3 times your worth, and you are also working less than what you are being paid. And then you are happy because you can buy a house and pay it off, and because you can have money to do whatever you wanted to do. Which one is more important to you? They all jumped on it. Maybe only 1 or 2 people decided not to do that and still stayed in their right pay. Yes, if you are being paid less than your day's job, yes, you have the right to be paid your day's job. All those people who wants to go and grab the money and so on, time is coming when the labor will be scarce. That's the way the world works, right? Economies. If there is a depression and things happen so bad, and if unfortunately, for the same thing, we're talking about the leaders that we have looking after your life, and if they don't think about your own interests, and in their actions, they engage in policies and behaviors that come to harm you because of the wrong decision that you have made by putting them in the position of surrendering the blessings of God that is given unto you unto them to manage, and they squander it. Then you suffer, and then you will come back. Then the employers, because everybody got their own gift and talent. Some are employers, and some will have to be the laborers. And then we will look at your resume. If you are engaged in prostitution, professional prostitution, running from place to place to grab for money, nobody wants to hire you. I wouldn't hire you. Because you are not faithful and undependent. You cannot be dependent on. Every business entity in business school, you are taught that is basic 101. Without feasibility study and plan and strategic plan, no business can survive. So how can somebody make a plan based on the number of laborers or